So Elon Musk has saved the world, or at least he has changed the course of history forever. Today I want to talk about this because it's a very important thing, and I don't think he gets credit for this, and I think he should get far more credit for this because Elon Musk has saved free speech. Whether you like him or not, he has saved free speech. And I think it's important to talk about how great and how impactful was his purchase of X, or Twitter, because before when he bought it, it was Twitter. Because if Elon hadn't bought Twitter, many things would have been different today. I think if he hadn't bought Twitter, Trump wouldn't have won the election. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have. If he hadn't bought Twitter, we would be in full free speech mode, full censorship mode. Because if you remember well, 3-4 years ago when he was about to buy Twitter, when he didn't buy Twitter, when he hadn't bought Twitter already, if you remember well, let's talk about COVID, for example. I mean, I'm gonna weigh in on COVID. I don't have any interesting opinion about it. I'm not gonna start talking about whether the vaccines were great or not, because I've got no clue. I'm gonna declare my vaccine status. Taking the vaccine of COVID, I would say this openly with no problem whatsoever. And I don't think I should have, because I was really young. I was 13 years old, or 12 or 11. That's more or less how old I was when COVID was around there. I don't think it made sense for me to take the vaccine. I think it was useless. So I believe I shouldn't have taken it. But again, I've got no data to back this up. And other than the vaccine, you weren't allowed to say bad stuff about the vaccine. People who were against the vaccine weren't allowed to speak on social media. And the same thing for Joe Rogan. Was very vocal about this, and he started to get hated and he started to get attacked by CNN. Unless I'm mistaken, I think that CNN did some sort of hate piece on him. And I remember really well that Joe Rogan was against, the COVID rules, and so was I, to be fair. Against the crazy lockdowns and all those sorts of things. I was pretty against them. But on social media, you weren't allowed to speak about COVID and vaccines and all the topics which go hand in hand with COVID in an adversarial way, compared to the way the propaganda machine was purporting that influence and those things more than influence. So you weren't allowed basically to go against the vaccines. You weren't allowed to question the vaccines. You weren't allowed to question the mandates and their effectiveness. You weren't allowed to say those things, which I think is very dangerous. And I'm so thankful that Elon bought Twitter, and we need to talk about this, guys, because this is a very important topic and a very important subject. And I think that the purchase of X in and of itself I think it wasn't as important as the way the tone of the culture changed and shifted towards free speech. Because when Elon bought Twitter, now things are starting to change. Mark Zuckerberg has come out and said that the Biden-Harris administration forced him, or something like that, to suppress information going against the policies implemented by the Biden-Harris administration about COVID and the vaccines. So basically, it was forced to use censorship against the voices that were going against the agenda pushed by Biden and Harris. So he was forced to do that. But now he has come out and said that he's done those things and that he's sorry he did them. And that means that there has been a cultural shift. Again, guys, it's all about culture. Culture is what's really important. Guys, I've seen people criticize Trump. I'll make an example of Trump. I'm going to talk about Trump and Elon in this video, but mainly about Elon. I know Trump has appointed Zionists. I know he has done that. I know why he did that. I talked about that in a video. And I stand by the things I said in that video because I think they are very pertinent. Even if he governs not as well as he could, because he appoints Zionists, because he's forced to, in my opinion, because there is no other explanation. Even if he doesn't govern as well as you'd like him to govern, the culture is back. The culture is coming back. There has been a cultural shift. There has been a cultural shift going on. We need to take advantage of those 4 years. We need to take advantage of these 4 years as much as possible. Because a chance like this, a second chance like this one for the West, might never appear again. I think it is as simple as it gets. But what America does is that America sets the tone of the culture, more or less. That's what America does. And Elon, by buying X, by buying Twitter at the time, and now it has transformed into X, by buying Twitter, he changed the culture. There was a cultural shift which occurred after he bought Twitter. A cultural shift which is so important. Now Rumble is doing better than ever. We have this freedom of speech platform too, which is Rumble. And you see this cultural shift, you see it, and you sense it, and you feel it. And that's very important, because culture is the backbone of everything. Culture is what really matters. It is not about policy, it is about culture. Culture is what's really important. You need to have culture, because from culture everything starts, and from culture everything counts. That's the way it works, in my opinion. So it is very great this bought X, because it's set the tone. Now people are not... Cancel culture is dead. Ever since Elon Musk bought Twitter, cancel culture is dead. Cancel culture doesn't work anymore. People get cancelled, but they are there now on X. So they're not fully cancelled. They are now on Rumble. May God bless Chris, the CEO of Rumble, who's doing an amazing job. And they're trying to come after Elon, which I think is disgusting, because he's allowing free speech and because he supports Trump. Now, what I really care about is not being hypocritical. So if you want to attack Elon Musk because he supports Trump, you need to attack Bill Gates for supporting the Democrats endlessly, George Soros, and all the other billionaires who support the Democrats as much as you're going to attack Elon Musk who supported Trump and the Republicans. I believe everybody's free to support who they want to support. I supported Trump and I still support Trump, and I've been very vocal about it, and there are reasons for that. And I think everybody should be allowed to support who they want to support. But I do believe that being hypocritical and using two ways of policing people is unfair. We shouldn't target Musk for helping Trump to win the election, and we shouldn't target some billionaires for helping the Democrats to win the elections in the past and to do better in this election. I don't think we should target any of those people. But what's happening with Musk is so unfair. I think Elon Musk is a genius. Elon Musk is changing the world. Elon Musk is a G. And Elon Musk is one of my favorite people. He's one of the most impressive humans alive, possibly the most impressive person alive. Let's think of this. People are so crazy, and people are so nuts that they won't even see through things. I understand you don't like Trump, and I understand you don't like the fact that Elon Musk is crazy and you support Trump. Fine. I respect your opinion. You want the Democrats, you don't like Trump for XYZ reasons. I'm not saying everybody should like him. It is fine not to like him. And most of the people I speak with don't like him. So actually, it's that simple. But we need to appreciate Elon Musk, and we need to understand why he does certain things. Elon Musk is one of the few people, who's one of the few very influential people who talks about the fact that the population is collapsing. He talks about the fact that the fertility rate is plummeting all across Western civilization, all across Europe. He's the only one who's got the guts, and he's the only one who talks about this very important issue. Why is nobody talking about the fact that Europe is dying as we speak, population-wise? Overpopulation ain't a threat. The threat is underpopulation. That's the big threat. The threat is to have a world which has no people. That's the biggest threat. There is no threat regarding there being too many people. The only threat I see is the fact that there could be too few people. That's the biggest threat there is out there. And Elon Musk is one of the few people who talks about this issue. Elon Musk is the only human in history. Humans have existed for 5 million years. 6 million. I don't even know how old the first human is. But it is certainly old. It is very old, and his age is about like 6 million years. Sorry for mispronouncing some words there. Like, humans have existed for more than 5 million years, and Elon Musk is the only human in history, and tens of billions, hundreds of billions of humans have lived ever since human civilization began, and is the only one out of those hundreds of billions of people who has the power to send things into space without a government. Like, will you not admire something like that? Please, forget your bias, forget the fact he supported Trump, forget all of those things. He is the only human in history who has sent rockets into space by himself, more or less, we would say. Of course, it is not by himself, but he's the only one who can do it without the government. He's one of the very few entities who has sent things into space, and is the only singular person who has the power to do that. He is probably going to be the first person to make humans go to Mars. So he talks about very important issues like the birth rate one. He talks about humanity being multiplanetary, and I think that we should respect our geniuses. We should do like people used to do years ago. So, or like in older civilizations, people used to be very brutal and barbaric and maybe attack other civilizations. But the genius, they would let the genius, and they would say, this guy is too smart, this guy is too great, we need to keep him safe. We should do the same thing with Elon Musk. Let's stop prosecuting this guy for bullshit. He's done nothing. All the cases which may start against him are complete and utter lies, and they're fabricated in order to stop him from doing great. And we need to support the geniuses of this world, because he's one of the few people who's got the talent and who's got the skill. He's actually, I think, one of the smartest folks out there, and he's possibly the most revolutionary guy out there, without a doubt. Elon Musk is a top 20 player in a video game. He runs X, he runs Tesla, he runs, SpaceX. He's trying to send humans to Mars. Like, he is a genius, and we need to value him. We cannot be so personal about Elon Musk. We cannot be so personal about these folks out there. We need to value these people, because we've gotten very few people like him. I think there is nobody like Musk. But we've gotten very few people who even come close to Elon Musk. And he talks about very important issues. He talks about having a great vision of the future. We need to be happy. We need to be more than happy, because happiness in and of itself is hedonism, and you don't want to go down a hedonistic rabbit hole, because that's not great. But what I'm saying is that you should be positive. You should want to thrive. All of this BS which is being pushed about, I'm not going to jump into climate change, but I hate this fear-mongering which is being spewed upon the people. I hate this. This fear-mongering is just disgusting, and we shouldn't stop with the fear-mongering. We should be far more concentrated on trying to live a better future. And Elon Musk talks about these things. We need to make humanity multiplanetary. There cannot be World War III. He's one of the few people who talks about this. And guys, we need to value these people. And Elon Musk, I believe, to close the video off, I believe he's genuinely changed the course of history, and I believe he has been the most impactful person on the 2024 election. Not in the last few months where he campaigned for Trump. No, in 2022, late 2022, when he bought Twitter. His purchase of X has changed the course of history forever. If Elon Musk hadn't bought Twitter, Democrats would have won the 2024 election. If Elon Musk hadn't bought Twitter, censorship would have completely and utterly taken over freedom of speech. There would have been no free speech whatsoever. No free speech platforms whatsoever. On the other hand, with Elon Musk buying Twitter, he has changed the culture and he has set the tone. So now censorship doesn't work as much as it used to, and now censorship isn't being as tyrannical as it used to be. I'm talking about the Western world at least. So we need to thank Elon Musk, because he's genuinely changed the course of history. And I might even go as far as to say he has saved the world to some degree. I know you might think I'm crazy for saying this, and I'm not so sure he has saved the world, because that's a big statement. But to be honest with you, the fact he bought X and the fact he restored and saved free speech is certainly very important, because the right to speak your mind is one of the most important rights out there. So that might as well make him the person who saved the world from utter degeneracy and utter censorship. So he might have saved the world, But what I do know with a fact is that if he hadn't bought X, we would have been in big trouble. And what I know certainly is that he has changed the course of history forever.